Most everyone here knows probably that my dad was on this department, my brother was on this department. His cousin Jim Brookard was the chief. My Uncle Bud Kirkove was on Monticello Fire Department. My cousin Johnny worked for Olathe, and so did my other cousin Terry Zahner. A lot of family history. My Uncle Tom Wells was Assistant Chief of Mission, Fire Department. My Uncle John DuPont was on the Sheriff's Department. So we our whole family is intertwined in this public safety and has been all my life. So I wanted to follow my dad's footsteps, but I also had a strong will to continue on with my automotive. I was really heavy into racing, things like that, things that had to do with automotive. So out of high school, I think it's the latter part of 1982, I enrolled with ITT, and I was able to get my degree in automotive technology. And through that degree, got me down the road of the performance. So, I wanted to get into NASCAR or some kind of racing, and a lot of that segue is through getting into businesses that allow that pathway. I turned in my application to Andy Granatelli and saying, hey, I'm interested in working for you, but I'd like to go to Las Vegas if that's possible. It took about a month. He replied back, sure, love to have you out in Las Vegas. Did that for about a year because 6 days a week in 114-degree heat, touching the wheel wells would burn you. So I applied for Mission Fire Department and was able to get on. My brother Hank was still on the Mission Fire Department, and I think I was there for maybe a year and a half, and they were consolidating. They were getting in with district. Long story short, 1988, applied with Overland Park. Pat Mays responded, said, sure, you can come on and be a volunteer with us. When I got on Overland Park, it was very organized, very organized. Things were done with purpose, things were done for reason. It felt safer. And lo and behold, now I'm working at Scott Color Company, which is automotive paint and body supply place. I'm managing the store out in Grandview, and I get this call, and it's Dennis Myers. Says, hey, you still interested in being a fireman for Overland Park? I said, hell yeah. And he goes, when can you start? I said, I'll lock this place up right now. He goes, no. He says, give him 2 weeks notice. We'll see you in November. So it was October. And November came, and he said, you're going to be assigned to Station 1 on C Battalion under Al Dedrick. I said, okay. So I get home and celebrating a little bit, and the phone rings again. It's Chief Dedrick. He says, Pat? I said, yeah, Chief. He goes, welcome to Overland Park Fire Department. Welcome to the C shift. I said, well, thank you. And he goes, you're going to Station 1, and Ed Morrison's going to be your captain, and Phil Fisher will be your lieutenant. I grew up with a lot of the guys that worked for my dad or with my dad. Tim Gibbs, Ed Morrison, Phil Fisher, Bobby Johnson, Dave Hogue, Bill LaFollette, Dwayne Tracy, all these guys, plus some newer ones that were even volunteers. Jeff Hogue was a volunteer, and so was Mark Messenger, and they got hired out of the volunteer group. So, and away we went, away we went. Jeff Hogue was on the shift, Matt Young was on the shift, Paul Gangle was on the shift. I didn't talk much, I listened, and I got even more experience. I got the paid man's experience. So as I started at Ones, we became the assembly center, if you will. We built the Swiftwater boat trailer. So Eddie Rackley and Jim Zipperlin, they were the leads on those because they used to weld. They were expert welders. And then after that was done, the safe house. We had to build the first safe house. So Station 1, we're in it because, and I think most part was because Captain Morrison, he was building homes. So he knew how to build things, and we became that fabricator for a lot of things the department had. Got shift off to Station 2, worked under Captain Gibbs. Captain Gibbs got promoted and got to go down there and be a part of his crew, and we were a pretty tight-knit crew. My lieutenants were Larry Brooker at first, then I got Mark Messenger and then Jeff Hogue. About 9 years in, I'd say it was like September of '99, if I remember right, I got promoted to lieutenant. That was an exciting time, and in 2000, they're going to open up Station 3, and I would go up with then Captain Rettelsheimer, and I would go up and run Station 1. Some of the biggest events, if you will. In '96, we had an ice storm come through in October and basically leveled the city because the foliage was still on the trees. It knocked down about every power line there. So yeah, after that ice storm, we bought a Bobcat. We bought a trailer. We bought a couple trailers. We put some boards on the sides, and Chief Janke had us out helping the city clean up. It was a disaster. It was actually a disaster. The year 2000 is going to come. So we were afraid that none of our trucks were going to start. This was a big deal. They were even worried about coffee pots firing up, you know, would the computer in the coffee pot be able to work? 9/11 hit. That kind of did some changes in the department, if you will, the way we would operate. Our hazmat team would learn WMD, and then we were starting to answer a bunch of white powder calls, things like that. 2002 would roll along. In March, Mark Mansfield would die. It seemed like every 6 years there was something big in my career, things that, you know, benchmarks, if you will. But when Mark died, that was a pretty big deal because he was driving me around during the ice storms. He was, you know, the apparatus operator at that time, and we just had a ball. Training was on your own. And when I say on your own, it's the shift. You know, there was really no set schedule or anything like that. We had in-service inspections that we would do. We'd go around to every commercial facility, even the schools, and inspect those and do fire drills and things. But the call load was definitely not like it is now. You'd sit in a day room and my God, here's a carousel that came up. It's got, I don't know how many people are watching this, but we used to use a carousel projector. We had overhead projectors. And I found myself down in fives, and Captain LaFollette's there, Dale Backless and Jim Coyner and myself. And he'd say, "Pat, we got some training." I said, "All right." You know, so we sat down at the dinner table there in the projector, and then over there on the wall is where we're going to project this image. And so we started off about, maybe 5-10 minutes in, and pretty soon I hear this beep, no change in the slide, you know, and I'm like, so I start looking around, they're all asleep. They're all asleep. It's you know, these are guys that work for my dad, you know, for God's sakes. And Willie LaFollette comes out, Captain LaFollette comes out the double door. "Ah, yes, sir. You doing all right?" "Yes, sir." "What'd you think of training?" It was great, Bill. It was good stuff. I thought so, you know. The enjoyment that I still have of this organization is second to none, because we are the pros. We are the best in the county. In my mind, we're the best in the state and probably the nation. But that's just a pride in me, you know. The people, the quality of people that we hire is second to none. We do a great job in the hiring process. It's a calling. The fire service is a calling. This is what I wanted to do. There's no doubt about it. To follow in the footsteps of my uncles, my cousins, my dad, I'm pretty proud of that. doing what my dad used to do. And now I'm retiring as a captain. My dad retired as a captain, you know. The company officer, I think, is probably one of the proudest moments, you know, that you take what you've learned and you give it back. And he always said, leave the place better than you found it. I think I've tried. I think I've done that. I think I've achieved that. As a lieutenant, you get to take part in influencing your shift. As the captain, you're kind of, you're it. Whether things go right or they go wrong, it's in your lap. I try to let the men and women on my shift be themselves. They've got talent. It used to be when you started in this organization, there was a certain amount of hazing. You didn't know. What I tried to do is not pass that kind of tradition on. If there's somebody on the shift that knows how to force doors better, you know, force entry, use force entry tools, I'm gonna pick on them. I'm gonna bring them up and have them deliver that. If there's somebody that knows more about hydraulics, what better person to bring along than somebody like that? And then all of a sudden you're gonna see people grow. No longer are you kind of spreading the poison on the ground. The plant's only coming up a little bit, if you want to think about that analogy, but they start growing and their confidence increases a whole lot. And my dad always told me about that you know, you're human before you get a rank or a badge. You're a human being and you treat people as a human being. But 30 years is going to come before you know it. It'll come before you know it. It has been a blur, but I think it's been a blur because I've enjoyed it so much. I think if you're doing a job that you don't really like doing, it's probably an eternity. You feel like an eternity. But no, it's been a blur. It's unreal that I'm sitting here talking to you about I'm leaving Overland Park. You know, what am I going to do? Oh, I got plenty of things to do. My wife and I want to travel with her. I want to show her places. When I went and taught for the pipeline industry, the states that I've been in and the neat areas I've been in, I want to show her that. Wife and I have, and the kids, we've got a trip planned to go see her sister in California. That's in March. I've got a plan to build my shop, and in that shop I'm going to restore my 69 Ford Mach 1 Mustang, 64 Galaxy Custom 2-door, and a 72 Chevy pickup. And they're going to be performance vehicles, let me tell you. I'm going to miss the Overland Park Fire Department, like I said, the people here, but the calls, 30 years I've answered a few, I think so. Getting up at night, the drive-in, 65 miles, you know. Not going to miss the drive-in with the snow and the ice, but I am going to miss working with the people. You know, what's the old cliche? You'll miss the clowns, but you're not going to miss the circus. What do you want to know? I'll be gone, but I'm not going to be gone. They can't get rid of me. What else do you want to know? Oh, God. Drill me, come on. I'm at Hotel Blue Hawk. This is the place to be. Gated community, all the amenities you can ever imagine. But, am I rambling? C shift, confined, control. I mean, there's a whole lot more, but those are stories I'll tell with a can of beer and some friends, you know.